Private employers laid off 32,000 employees last month. We are also in today's video going to cover what the Nvidia CEO revealed about the $100 billion deal with OpenAI. Groundbreaking bombshell announcement there. We'll get to that in a moment. Let's start the top of today's video with private employers firing 32,000 jobs in November. And by the way, if you're new here, 6 days a week, I'm bringing you the freshest news stories that are relevant to guys like you, like me, that need to, want to, must stay relevant, respected, and financially free in this AI world. Hit like, hit subscribe. Let's get to it. So according to ADP, who's the world's largest payroll processor, one of the, at any rate, businesses terminated 32,000 jobs in November. This is the biggest decline since spring of 2023. So things are not going in the right direction, guys. Now, what makes this especially startling is that Wall Street had forecasted an increase in jobs, an increase in employment of 40,000. So instead of going up 40,000, we went down 32,000. That is not the right direction that you want to go. If you're a working person, if you're trying to stay on top of the economy, if you're wanting to see growth, jobs, wages, all that increase, it is not going that way right now. And we're going to cover that why in just a moment. You can certainly put your comments below with your thoughts. Regardless, that is what happened. Now, ADP also reports that it appears that there is a hiring freeze still in place. So not only, and we've been covering this for weeks. It is amazing to me, it's shocking to me when I go on X and I read people saying, people are getting fired and companies aren't hiring. What's going on? It's like, guys, we've been covering this for weeks. It's like you're living in the past. We see this time and time again. Companies, CEOs saying, we're not hiring new, we're hiring within, we are letting go of people, we're optimizing with AI. Anyway, hold that thought. We'll get there. We'll get to that point in just a moment. So what is happening here? What is happening with these jobs? Well, there's two, I think, main narratives going on as to why companies are not hiring and why they're laying off. The first of which, the first of these ideas is that, well, these companies are making up for overhiring. They hired too many people during the past several years, and now they have to lay people off. Okay, that's one option. Second option being, you know, they're wanting to use more AI. So they're saying, I don't need a customer service staff. I don't need a sales staff. I don't need an SDR. We covered, I'll post a link to a video here. We covered a link to we covered a topic just a few days ago where a company laid off 90% of its SDR staff and just has one person doing the job because they have all these AI agents that are doing the qualifying for prospects in their sales funnel. So anyway, I think that we've got a combination of both. We have companies that are saying, hey, we've overhired, we have too many people on staff that don't know what they're doing or not adding value. Let's trim those guys out. And then let's leverage AI where we can to accelerate our efficiencies. And guys, this is something that we've talked about a lot, is that nobody has AI figured out just yet. But what companies are doing is they are searching for ways to implement more AI. Like I mentioned, the SDR example, Salesforce laying off 45% of customer service staff, McDonald's using HR to screen AI to screen 64 million job applications in their HR department, bookkeeping, coding. Like, we're seeing this across the board. Companies are really trying to leverage and use AI in different and interesting ways. And what's going to happen, mark my words, is a lot of these companies are going to crash out. It's not going to work. They're going to have to rehire. We saw this happen with Klarna earlier this year. They fired their whole customer service staff and like, oh, actually, the AI bots have quality control issues, so they had to hire people back. There's going to be some of that. But what is going to happen is some of these companies are going to figure it out. They're going to figure out, okay, we actually don't need customer service anymore. AI bots can handle all of it, and that's going to happen. And then when that happens in that company and they're successful, every other company is going to follow suit. We're going to have innovators, game changers. So the big question is here, who are going to be the big winners? Who are going to be the big losers? And how do you find yourself a job with one of the winners? How do you find yourself on the winning side? Well, yeah, that's where it comes. That's what we preach on the channel. You got to invest in yourself. We got to learn. We got to read. We got to test different things. You know, it's not about outracing AI, it's about using AI in your day-to-day life, in your day-to-day business, and which softwares are gonna win and which companies are winning. This is the stuff that, you know, we need to be paying attention to, the stuff that I'm looking at on a regular basis. And by the way, if you want to come, you can even go a level deeper with me, you can go to my newsletter, it's completely free. And I'm covering all this stuff, guys, AIupdate.ai. If you want to know what's happening and how you can stay on top of this AI revolution, go to AIupdate.ai. It's completely free. It's my newsletter, and I think you'll really like it. We get a lot. There's thousands of other guys just like you that are reading it, enjoying it, and staying ahead of the curve. So go over and check that out. The other thing that I just want to take a note on is we see that in November, 32,000 jobs lost, not a lot of new jobs coming on, is another video that I covered a little while ago. I'll post a link to it here. And basically the premise of the video is that even though companies aren't hiring, they're still putting job listings up. They have these ghost listings up. And what's really crazy is this was a couple months ago where I researched this. There's 7 million jobs out there, but 40% of the jobs are not even real. They're just ghost jobs. And so what we have happening in the job market now is you have big companies putting out ghost jobs just to fill their, just to look, you know, make it appear that they're hiring, appear that they're growing, just so they can fill their funnel with potential workers in the future. And what's happening is all these job listings are being filled out by AI agents. So you have everyone in the workforce is using AI to fill out job applications, and everyone that is hiring is using AI to screen applications. I've used AI to screen potential employees and team members in the past too, and it's excellent. I think it's foolish not to. It saves a lot of time. It's efficient. You can scan through. You can find the top 5 candidates out of 100 in seconds, and that's a really powerful thing. Especially if you're like I mentioned McDonald's, you're taking in millions of job applications. Yeah, I mean, anyway, you get the picture. You can use AI to screen a lot of data very, very quickly. So, you know, anyway, if you want to break through, you need some different tactics. That's what I cover in that video. Regardless, job market is tough, very, very tough. It's a good time to double down with the companies that you're with, the clients that you're with, but also figure out new ways to solve those problems and to leverage AI. At any rate, the BLS report, the Bureau of Labor Statistics report, on jobs is not out yet. That should be coming out in a couple weeks. We will definitely be covering that on the channel. Make sure that you're subscribed so that you can catch that. It's a little bit backdated because of the government shutdown. Regardless, the ADP payment processing report seems pretty accurate. Okay, second story of the day. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying this, type in the comments, what do you want to see more of? If you have stories you'd like to see, you can go ahead and post it in the, here or in the community. We've got the community here, right here on YouTube, where you can post to all the other fellas. Okay, second story, which I think is actually a lot bigger than people make it out to be, which is the Nvidia CFO. The Nvidia CFO reveals the $100 billion OpenAI investment deal is not finalized. It is still in the air. And one of the things that we've seen happening with these big tech companies, specifically, frankly, OpenAI and Nvidia, is they keep spending money on each other. They're investing money into each other in these circular type of patterns. And I covered this in a video a few weeks ago. I'll post a link to it here. But essentially, the companies are saying, okay, you know, we'll invest in your software. Your software company invests in cloud services company, who invests in the hardware, who invests in the development, and it's this big circular investment that's happening. But what's interesting to me is when a company like Nvidia says, actually, you know, we're still waiting on something from OpenAI. That's a big deal. But you don't just need to take my word for it. Listen to what CFO Colette Kress says. She says, we still haven't completed a definitive agreement, but we're working with them meaning OpenAI. So the deal is still in the works. They're still trying to work through it, but it is not finalized. And what is NVIDIA waiting for? Well, they're waiting to make sure that their sites are permitted. Data center sites. You know, what is OpenAI trying to do? They want to build out data centers with lots of compute. What do they need to do that? You need the chips from NVIDIA. So what's happening now? These sites are not permitted. And quite frankly, this is a pretty kind of scary game for companies that are trying to build these large data centers. We just saw a couple months ago in October that Microsoft canceled a 244-acre data center in Wisconsin at the last moment because the community didn't want it there. And guys, these types of delays or shutdowns of data centers can cost tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars for companies, because they put all this investment, this planning, CapEx, it's all going into this new data center. So anyway, I don't want to go too far off that, but Nvidia, before they ink the deal, want to make sure that the data centers are going to be built. They want to make sure that the power availability is secured, and they want to make sure that the infrastructure as far as cooling and build outs are all aligned with timeline. So Nvidia's like, hey, if we're going to invest $100 billion with you, we know you're going to spend it on chips. We want to make sure that that money is going to come flowing back to us. But I don't think, that's part of it, but I think we could go a level deeper here, okay, guys? And I don't want to go into conspiracy theory corner, but let's look at this. Yesterday, we covered that OpenAI and Sam Altman are focused on product, not ads. Again, we covered this in yesterday's video. He said, we're going to double down on quality. We want the best quality. And quite frankly, the ChatGPT 5 release was not great. There's been a lot of speculation about ChatGPT releasing ads and different ways to monetize. Altman's like, scratch all that. Let's focus on quality. We need to have the best quality product. And I mean, quite frankly, I think that's smart, considering they just had a large data breach, which we covered in a video, the OpenAI data breach. By the way, if you're a business owner, if you use ChatGPT, there's a possibility that your information was leaked. Check out that video to make sure that you're still secure. So you've got security breaches within OpenAI, which are a problem. And you also have Google's Gemini is looking really impressive on the market right now, guys. We covered this in a video a couple weeks ago. I know I'm referencing a lot of videos because I'm covering this stuff on a daily basis. You're subscribed, so you know that. But Gemini 3 is like, are software developers all going to be replaced by Gemini 3? Like, the coding is pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. You got to check out that video. So anyway, Nvidia wants to make sure, I think, that they are going to be investing on a winning horse. They want to make sure that OpenAI is going to have a good product. They want to make sure that it's solid, that it's respected. Right now, OpenAI has the most users of any of these daily/weekly/monthly LLMs. But if quality drops, that could change too. Especially when you're going up against a Goliath like Alphabet that has so much distribution and so many users already. And here's kind of my final thought here, guys. It's pretty clear that we're in an AGI race. And, there's this idea that, well, companies are not seeing a return on investment yet. I think that it puts a lot of pressure under people like Sam Altman, like, you need to make more money. You're a big AI company. You need to show that using AI generates a financial result. And that is certainly true. But it means that you're potentially sacrificing other initiatives, guys. You can only, I'm the marketing lead at a SaaS organization. You can only take on so many projects at one time. Okay, if you're taking on, you only have so many resources, and if resources are spent on monetization, they're not necessarily spent on development or user experience. So these are some of the things that Sam Altman and OpenAI are certainly weighing right now, because the AGI race is real. And if you're not first, you're last. And this is both on an inside the US type of standpoint. Is it going to be Gemini? Is it going to be Grok? Is it going to be ChatGPT? It's also relevant on a global scale because, competing against drone AI-powered drones, competing against cybersecurity, AGI cybersecurity, the country that gets this right could get off to an insanely massive leap. And, when you look throughout history, you'll see that dynasties are created off the backs of new technology, in particular when it comes to war. If you're the first to figure out gunpowder, ain't no one defeating your army. Going back to the ancient Egyptians, they figured out chariots. They developed chariots and the wheel, and they just crushed. And you know, what happens with AGI? If you're the first global power to figure out that technology, it could be the start of a millennium of power. All right, on a positive note, guys, I know jobs are down. There's lots of opportunities out there. Subscribe to the newsletter, watch yesterday's video, and I'll catch you in the next one. All right, boys, see ya, peace.